Kumble in conversation with Mr. Keshav Murugesh, CEO WNS. Keshav is Group CEO and Chairman WNS, and he's also chair of the nasscom BPM Council. He's also a cricketer, having played for the under-19 cricketing, and also comes from a cricketing family. And he even recently played at the Lords. So we're going to have Kumble coming in, and we have Keshav, who's going to be talking to him in our Celebrity in Conversation segment. Sit back and enjoy this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anil Kumble.
Welcome, Anil. Come, sit down. Sit down, please. You may have noticed that for this session, I went and booked my seat first. So I'm really delighted to welcome to our midst one of the greatest cricketers of our time and the head coach of the Indian cricket team, Anil Kumble. Having started playing for India at the age of 19, Anil, or Jumbo as his teammates know him, has had a blistering career in international test cricket for over 2 decades. Before taking over the mantle of the head coach, Anil was a leg spinner par excellence, captain of the Indian cricket team, chief mentor of Royal Challengers Bangalore, and Mumbai Indians, remember whom we had here yesterday, and chairman of the ICC Cricket Committee. He has played 132 tests for India, taken 619 wickets, and bowled a total of 40,850 balls, which is the second highest after Muthaiya Muralidharan of Sri Lanka. He has bowled into the record books many times. I'd just like to mention a couple here. In 2008, he became the first Indian bowler and the third in the world to reach the milestone of 600 test wickets. Probably a record that he is best known for is his feat against Pakistan in 1999 when he took 10 wickets in one innings. Come on, we need more than that. Anil is the second man in the world after Jim Laker of England to have achieved this honor. In his honor, the Karnataka government renamed a major traffic intersection as Kumble Circle and gifted him a car with a customized number plate, KA 10 in 10. That's what they gave him. It is said that no bowler in history has won India more test matches than this gentleman here, Anil Kumble. He brought in a unique style, perfecting accuracy and bringing variation in each spell, mixing his deliveries with googlies and flippers. Attached to his name today are the Arjuna Award, the Padma Shri, and the ICC Hall of Fame. I must mention here that he is only the 4th Indian to have entered the ICC Hall of Fame after Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, and Bishan Singh Bedi. Can you imagine? Even Sachin is waiting. Outside bowling, Anil has interests in photography. He published a book called Wide Angle with candid and behind-the-scenes photographs of the team and several shots of wildlife that he has taken. With immense pleasure and pride, I present to you Anil Kumble, our special guest this evening, to speak about peak performance and the winning edge. The floor is all yours, Anil.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be here this evening amongst world leaders and to have an opportunity to speak at the NASSCOM is something that probably every engineer looks forward to. And in his introduction, Keshav, thank you so much for introducing me. One thing that he forgot to mention was I also am an engineer. And by the way, that was plan A. And plan B was cricket. So thankfully, my plan B worked, and plan A probably was left behind. When I was asked to speak about peak performance and what it takes to be successful in sport, I guess, cricket is like life itself. One day you're a champion, and the next day you have to start from scratch. I mean, if you're a batsman, you may score the fastest 100 or triple 100 or 400. For the next innings, you have to start from zero. And in his brief introduction, Keshav did mention about my 10-wicket haul. Yes, everybody remembers the 10 wickets against Pakistan, but the next test was in Calcutta. It was the first test of the Asian Test Championship, and Javagal Srinath got 8 wickets, so nobody ever discussed it because 10 was more than 8, and 8 was, okay, so what, big deal. But I struggled to get 1 wicket. That's the beauty about cricket, and that's the beauty about life. You're successful one day, but you have to again start from scratch. So I literally struggled to get Shoaib Akhtar out, and that was the only wicket that I could say I had in Calcutta. But what certainly helped me through my career was some of the routines that probably that I stuck to, be it training routines, be it my skill development, be it even sleeping patterns, eating habits, and visualization, before any match, be it a Ranji Trophy or a club match, and carrying the same routines to even Test cricket or international matches or the finals of an important tournament. When I started all of that, then it really helped me calm my nerves, and there was no sense of importance given to a certain match. And that certainly helped me, doing those routines regularly. And whenever I faltered, it was easy for me to actually see where I was going wrong. And that's something that I have followed through my coaching career as well, because that's something, it's extremely critical. When you have a bunch of talented individuals, it's very important to stick to routines and stick to certain practices that create values for team, and cultures are formed in a team environment. And only when that is depicted on the field, then it becomes a habit. And that's exactly what I've been able to do through my career, and I've had the success that I've had. Although not many people gave me the chance when I first came into the team as a 19-year-old. Many believed that I was very unorthodox, not the classical leg spinner that people would want to see in a leg spinner. So I was very different. I was a fast bowler with a fast bowler's attitude, and of course, someone who I say it everywhere. This is something that happened to me after I retired as well. The first question that came from the press conference was, so Anil, how does it feel to, end up with more than 600 wickets without actually spinning the ball? So that is what people perceived me as throughout my 18 years. But I said, I'm really glad that, the batsman couldn't figure that out for 18 years. So I guess cricket is a percentage game. I mean, so is anything that you do in life. The more you keep doing what is good at that point in time, I think the better you get. Yes, you need to be innovative. Throughout my career, I had to reinvent myself. With technology coming into the game, into the sport in early 2000s. I also was instrumental in starting a technology company, and we probably were far ahead of our times. In 1996, I was talking to Keshav about it, and we had devised an analytical tool, which probably in current day and age probably would have made sense. At that time, it certainly didn't make sense, not just to the team, but even to certain players. When data was shown in front of them, they never agreed with it. So it was not something that that went well with some of the players, so we had to really disband that very quickly. But in today's day and age, technology is a part and parcel of all our daily life, and so it is in sport. And for me, that certainly helped. That certainly helped me innovate, whether it was the speed gun, which was a very simple tool. For me, it was all about varying speed. That itself was a variation, not necessarily spin. So the speed gun really helped me in trying to understand how I could bowl better, how I could deceive batsmen, those subtle variations which commentators don't pick, the television don't pick, nor the people who are seeing pick. But what is important is the batsmen need to pick. And that's what I was working on. And those subtle variations, which certainly helped me become a better bowler and innovate. So it was thanks to technology and thanks to the tools that were there available for me to understand my own self. And in all of the successes that one has, the family plays an important role. And I'm really thankful that my family backed me throughout, whether it was my parents at the start of my career, taking up cricket. Coming from a typical South Indian family, it's very difficult to not focus on education. And it was very important that I did my education and also played cricket. And of course, my wife and children who hardly see me. To be away from the family was extremely critical for my success. And without their support, it wouldn't have been possible. And the other major thing that happens in sport is injury. Injury is a part and parcel of everyone's career. And for me, it came at a stage where perhaps it could help me reflect upon what I had done previously in those 10 years. In 2000, 2001, I had a major shoulder operation where I was out of the game for almost a year. And in that year, it gave me time to reflect upon what I had done, what I need to do to be successful, and try and reinvent myself to ensure that when I come back, not only competition that you will be facing, but you will be facing a competition with a younger person, and that's what I had to face. So I had to come back to understand my own game, to try and improve upon and ensure that I was performing day in, day out. So these hurdles, these so-called hurdles, can be looked at in two different ways. One was in a very positive way, to say, okay, this is my opportunity to get better. And the other one was to say, this is the end of the world. And yes, all of us go through those doubts, and I also had those doubts because it took me almost 3 months to lift my hand up before I start bowling. So it was one of those challenging times where you tend to understand not just yourself, but also the people around you, who your real friends are and who your real supporters are. But one constant thing that has always helped all of us as cricketers, go out there and then do what we can or or achieve more than what we can is the support that the Indian public and the supporters that we have as an Indian cricket team. The following is immense, and you can see it. Once you go onto the ground and once you have those 30, 40,000 people cheering for you, it's a totally different ball game. All your pains, aches, everything goes out of the window, and you're just focusing, and your energy levels are so high that you go out there to win the game. And that's exactly what I think not just my generation, my previous generation, and even the current generation are banking on. The support that the Indian cricket team gets is probably more than any other cricket team in the world, for sure. And I'll give you an example of that. When I was honored with the to be a part of the Hall of Fame at the ICC, and I was given the award during the World Cup in 2015, the India-South Africa match at the MCG, where 95,000 people were sitting and watching the game. I think 90% of the people were wearing blue shirts. And that goes to show, in Australia you don't expect for an India-South Africa World Cup match to have almost 85,000 people supporting the Indian team. And it's a big boost, and that's the kind of support the Indian cricket team gets, and it's wonderful. Again, like I mentioned, I'm sure through the conversation, I don't know what Keshav has in store. I hope he doesn't bowl a googly. But I think over the course of the next half an hour, you'll probably get to understand what went through Indian cricket, or whatever instances that I was a part of, and I was really glad that at the end of my career, I retired as an Indian captain. I think that's something which was really something as a young boy growing up on the streets, playing with a rubber ball, with a tennis ball, aspiring to play for India, to retire as the captain of the team was something you don't even imagine. So that's something I will always cherish. And thank you so much, nasscom, for having me here, and over to you, Keshav. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anil. So I hope you're comfortable.
Yeah, because I don't bowl googlies alone. I start with beamers first.
No problem. That's a no ball anyway.
So let's start with some good news first. Coincidentally, I just happened to be a part of that team that rejected that deal in 1996. The deal that he spoke about that came as a investment banking deal. I happened to be on the other side of the table, and his brother Dinesh brought it to us. And I rejected it, and it's good news because we knew 20 years ago that you would be India captain, you would be so famous. We didn't want you to do a deal for 10 lakh rupees. We wanted you to do a deal for $1 billion.
So is the offer still open?
Absolutely.
We do the deal
we have the Angel Network chair sitting here. We have people who contribute $165 billion to India's GDP sitting right here. So absolutely, outside this room, we'll do that. But let's start with some simple questions now, just to get you a little more comfortable. You said that you originally started off as a batsman. And I think because of the advice that your brother Dinesh gave you, you moved, more to bowling. How did that really happen, and how comfortable were you? Because the reality of life is, it's the macho thing to be the batsman, right? So why did you agree to bowling?
No, one thing you start developing as a kid is you tend to start batting a lot more. And I was a decent enough batsman as a youngster, but what I also used to do was bowl medium pace. And I was a fast bowler, but at that time there were no television or no camera. The senior players, so you played in a club, and the senior players kept telling me, saying, stop this guy from bowling because he's chucking. As a 13-year-old, when you don't have the strength, the natural thing for you to do is throw, and your elbow is bent. So that's when, I was told that I was chucking. And, my brother told me to shift to leg spin. So all I knew was, just to rotate the arm the other way around. And that's all I knew. There were no coaches. And I did that. In the first year itself, when I was 14 and a half, I represented Karnataka in the under 15. And I never looked back from there. So it was just one of those things where that particular advice and also the natural way of me bowling quicker came about from there, and that probably helped in the way I ended up playing and continue to evolve as a spinner. But the natural, aggressive mindset of a fast bowler was always there. Some of them were teasing when I was a part of the team, saying that, I wish some of our fast bowlers had your, kind of aggression. They would have bowled a lot more and got a lot more wickets. But, I felt that, my initial years as a fast bowler certainly helped me, create that kind of an attitude on the field.
I just hope you're taking good care of your brother, because if not, we will have to take care of him. But we must thank him a lot for it. See, when you're a bowler in a cricket team, Anil, obviously, quite often it's the condition of the pitch and not really your form that determines whether you're on the team or not. Now, how frustrating has it been for you and for others?
No, it has been. It has been very frustrating because you tend to look at the conditions and then decide who should be playing in the 11 as a bowler. You don't think of the same when it comes to batsmen. You generally tend to agree that batsmen can adapt to those conditions, but you don't take the same logic, you don't apply the same logic when it comes to bowlers, whether they can adapt. And that's where I felt, in the initial years, or probably when we toured outside of India, that's where we probably faltered a little bit, and the results were not forthcoming. So when we traveled outside of India, the first ever, victory that I can remember, which was really critical for us, was in Headingley, when we toured England in 2002, where both Harbhajan and I played in the team on a green top, because our strength was spin, and we felt, no matter what, we have to win the toss. I mean, even if we win the toss on a green wicket, we will look to bat first. Because, two spinners bowling in tandem was our strength, and we played to our strength. Of course, we had the luxury of Sanjay Bangar, who could open the innings and also bowl a bit of seam, and Saurav himself bowling a bit of seam, with Zahir Khan and Ajit Agarkar in the team. So, of course, the batsmen put up 600 plus runs, and Rahul batted brilliantly to score 160. Sachin got 100, Saurav got 100. So the batsmen need to score the runs. I remember Sandeep, taking me up to my room. He said, Australia series is coming up. So he said, some more centuries from Virat. I said, of course, yes, but we also need 20 wickets. So to win a test match, you need bowlers. You need people to take 20 wickets. And I think that's the focus. In India, we tend to focus on individuals a lot more. But I think as a team, if the focus is on the team, then the bowlers also come into the party.
Fantastic. And clearly your mental strength has often been on display in many of the matches. And I think for all of us, one such incident was when you came with a broken jaw to bowl to Brian Lara, and he got his wicket as well, right? So where do you get that determination and strength from? Is that the winning peak that we should all know about?
No, I think, probably that was one of the nicest variation that I've ever bowled to Brian Lara. Scare him with a face looking like that. Probably he was not looking at the ball.
In business, we call that strategy, execution of strategy.
So it's all about strategy. I mean, bowling is all about strategy, which the batsman will never agree. They always believe that, it was their mistake that they got out. I mean, bowlers will always say that we had a strategy in place and that's why we got you out. So it's never, that debate is never, you can't win that debate. Although, we win a lot more battles on the field. But I think leading up to that, series, before that, I spoke about the shoulder operation that I had. So I had a long break from international cricket. I was just coming back. Like I mentioned, there was competition for my place, and Bajji was, preferred. Harbhajan played in the first 2 test matches, and we had won one and lost the other one. And here I was given an opportunity ahead of Harbhajan again, and I was hit. I went ahead of Ajay Ratra in the batting order, and I got hit. And I knew that I was coming back home. And we had scored 600 plus in the first innings that we batted. And this was a golden opportunity for us to go out there and win a test match and probably win the series. If we had won the test match, we would have won the series in West Indies. And we had missed out on winning the series in 1996 when Sachin Tendulkar was the captain. And we had lost that one-off test match in Barbados, not chasing 120. So this was an opportunity which was taken away from me. And I felt, if my shoulder is okay, I can go out there and bowl. So my shoulder was fine. So it was just a matter of going out there and then bowling and then trying to pick up a few wickets to enable the team to get into a winning position. I did get Brian Lara out. I also got Carl Hooper out, but off a no ball. And I bowled those 14 overs, and that probably, determines who I am in terms of, if I'm shoulder is fine, and if I can go out there and bowl, it doesn't really matter if my rest of the body is all battered. I'll still go out there and do it. And that's probably one of the, I think the background was more, which I had missed out on international cricket for a long time, and we had a chance to win the test match.
See, one is always thinking about succession planning and what one leader tells the other person taking over from him. In your case, you took over the Indian captaincy from another Bangalorean, Rahul Dravid, and obviously those are also big shoes to fill. So how did that feel, first and foremost? What did he tell you? And I'm asking you this also because remember, one of us has just taken over as the Tata chairman, right? So I always wonder what the previous person told him. So what is Ratan Tata telling him? What's the advice being given to him? And similarly, what did he tell you?
No, I think in my case, it was totally different, Keshav. In my case, it was by default because Rahul Dravid had quit captaincy in 2007 after the successful England series. And I think the selectors looked around. Saurav had done his bit. Sachin had done his bit. MS Dhoni was too young to captain Test cricket. So they looked around. They said, who's the senior most? Oh, Anil's the senior most. Let's give him the captaincy. So probably that was one of the reasons I became captain. But, to answer your question, I never looked at myself as not a captain. I believe that, even during the times when all these names that I mentioned were captains, I was still contributing and making my, whatever opinions that I had, and never shied away from giving an honest view about what we felt. I mean, there are times when people hold back just because, it's not the right thing to say. And if you say it, what will happen to me? I never believed in that. If I believed that something has to be said in the good of the team, it didn't matter if it hurt me. I mean, if those messages would actually hamper my progress, I never shied away from that. So probably that's one of the reasons that, when I became captain, it was by default. And I knew that, my body was already battered, and you spoke about those 40,000 odd deliveries that I've bowled. So I knew that it was just a transition, and it was all about handing over the captaincy to MS Dhoni. And when was the right time for me to do it? And then try and see if we can get to a stage of putting together a team and the habits of getting to become number one. And I think the seeds were sown during that period. And eventually 2009 was a landmark year for us in Indian cricket, where MS Dhoni held the mace of India becoming number one in tests. So that gave me a lot of satisfaction because I felt that I was a part of that journey, although I was not present in the playing squad. But that journey was something really special. So to answer your question, I think I was made default captain, and I don't think anyone, yes, Rahul and Sachin and, the previous captain, Saurav, all of them lent their support. and never ever felt that I was leading, 3 or 4 or 5 captains in my team. It was always a challenge, but that's where I think you as a person, when you're not the captain, when you have been a player, and just because you become captain, has that changed? I think matters the most. So in my defense, that never changed. So that really helped me.
What a great answer. Now, I was speaking to Javagal recently at another NASCOM event, and we were discussing your 10 wickets. And for whatever reason, every time your 10 wickets are spoken about, everyone is talking about Srinath and the fact that he was bowling outside the off stumps. So what actually happened there? I mean, when I asked him, he said, the whole credit has to go to Anil. But I said, but everyone only talks about you bowling outside the off stump and not taking a wicket. So what happened there?
No, I think the pressure was on Javagal Srinath, not on me, because you're constantly tutored, you're constantly, you practice bowling on the stumps. So suddenly in an international match, to bowl 6 deliveries wide is not easy. So, so Srinath had to do that, and it was not that I had told him, or I think it was a message which was pretty clear to him, saying, "Look, we'll try this for 1 over," and it would have been really embarrassing for me if I had not got that wicket the next over. To say, "Sri, let's have another over of." You've practiced 1 over, get it right the next over. So it was quite embarrassing for me to stand there, but it was one of those things where probably I was destined. Because if you look back when Kapil Dev broke Richard Hadley's record, Richard Hadley was the highest wicket taker before Kapil Dev surpassed him. Richard Hadley was 431, and Kapil was on 430 in Bangalore in a test match against Sri Lanka. And we had 2 more wickets to wrap up. We had a lot of time, so time was not an issue. I was bowling from one end, and obviously bowl wide. So I bowled wide, and for whatever reason, the batsman swung at the ball. It was an inside edge, got bowled. So Kapil only equaled Richard Hadley on that particular day, and then surpassed it, I think, in Ahmedabad after that. So it was one of, like I said, it could have been anything. Srinath would still have bowled wide, and it could have been a, inside edge bowled. So I probably was destined to get all 10.
Well, you should tell us a little more about what happened, what went perfectly that day. Those 10 wickets, and how did the team contribute? And I must tell you, while obviously you got all the 10 wickets and, everyone knows that you're the man behind it, it's just wonderful to see that Srinath also has somehow got associated with your 10 wickets. And these days I see 2 Pakistani commentators also getting a little more involved in terms of, taking a little bit of credit for it, but it's all yours.
Thank you. No, I think, like I spoke about the visualization, before every game. You tend to, previous evening, you tend to sit down and start thinking about the opposing batsmen, the lineup that they have, and then try and set fields for them and then get them out in your mind. Some days you can get all 10 in your mind, and some days it just doesn't go past 2 batsmen. For whatever it is, I'm sure all of you would have probably felt that. Some days it just doesn't happen. So before every game, that would be my routine of going through the opposition batsmen. It was not just that particular night. So this particular night, I just went through all of them and then said, this is the kind of field placing that I will have, this is the kind of pitch that is, this is the kind of bowling that I will do, and this is how I will try and set them up. It all worked out. I mean, it all worked out eventually, and it was very strange that there were other 3 extremely capable bowlers, and they never got a wicket. There were many opportunities created by these 3 bowlers, and there was enough pressure. So it's all about pressure. Someone asked me, what gets you a wicket? I said pressure. Pressure gets you a wicket. You have to build the pressure from both ends. Otherwise, just one bowler bowling really well doesn't get you wickets. You have to have the support from the other end, and that's exactly what happened that day. So the credit also has to go to the other 3 bowlers, and of course, all those catching positions that Rahul, Saurav, Lakshman, all of them, Mongia, all of them around the bat, certainly helped.
You're too humble, Anil. You know, I'm sure if we ask those 10 batsmen, they will say that you were destined to
sure,
win all those wickets.
No, like I said, some of them will certainly say I was not out. So that's the...
So, on that note, you know, you are, all your admirers say that you are gifted with, you know, this absolute clarity about living the values. And one perfect example, you know, of how you showcased this to all of us was when, you know, against Pakistan, when Yuvraj, you came out and announced that Yuvraj will not be in the test team. He had to earn his right there. And he had just been named, you know, man of the one-day series. What went through your mind? And what can we as corporate executives who are driven by the profit motive learn from that?
I think, you know, it is very difficult. The most difficult job that, if you ask me, of now currently the Indian coach, is to tell a player that, sorry, you're not playing, or you're not in the squad. It's extremely difficult. It's not easy, but you have to take those decisions, hard decisions. You know, for example, when I was captain, before we went to Australia in 2007 and 8, in the selection committee, we spoke about, picking the choices that we have for the opening batsman. And I said, Virendra Sehwag. Sehwag was out of the team. And there were a couple of other opening batsmen in domestic cricket had scored more than 1,000 runs, whereas Sehwag had not, after he had been dropped, he had not performed really well in the domestic season. But I felt that someone like Sehwag can certainly make a difference. It's all about, what you want the team to be and how you want to play the game, and the clarity of actually backing someone who you believe and going with your gut. At some point in time, you have to, take that decision. In retrospect, maybe, people will start saying if it fails, then they'll start blaming you. You should be ready for that. I mean, I think as a captain or as a coach, I keep saying that, all the victories are because of the team, all the defeats are because of the coach. It's very clear. And if you take that attitude, then I think it's a lot easier to make decisions. Otherwise, it's very difficult to make decisions. At the end of the day, you have to live with your decisions. And in retrospect, people will have many things. I mean, in India, after the game is over, you should have batted first, you should have bowled first. All those decisions happen. But before the, event, how many of them will say this is what you need to do? I think you need the, clarity and also, the gut to say, okay, this is what I'll go with.
But any great leader, also needs to ensure that he's carrying the whole team, with him. And quite often, a team of, consisting of champions need not be a champion team. Now, you have the unique distinction of having 4 former captains in your team, right? You had 3 and 1 who became the one-day captain, Dhoni, thereafter. But yet, you got that performance from them. How did you manage to give, critical feedback or constructive feedback to a champion of that kind and just make sure that it was accepted? Because this is something that we face in the corporate environment as well all the time.
I think it's all boils down to honesty and dealing with every individual the same. And like I mentioned, you as a player, have you changed just because you are now the captain of the team is extremely critical. And if you haven't, then it's a lot easier to deal with the captains or superstars or whatever you call them. As long as the communication is clear, and yes, in a team environment, you will have to probably give credit to certain players, and sometimes you have to, give them the stick as well. But like I mentioned, if you're honest about, appraisals and understanding the particular individual, and then how you can go about. I mean, some people don't like to be told in a group Whereas some people, you may have to do that to engage. For example, I don't want to name people here, but then I had to send out a message to one of the younger lot, but I took the senior player along with him, and in fact, I had the conversation, and the message was, I had the conversation of sharing the message to the senior player while the junior player was just sitting and listening to us. The message I wanted to give was to the junior guy, not to the senior guy. And then during the course of the conversation, the senior member also started accepting it and then, saying, okay, this is what I think the team requires. And that message went on to the junior player. And that's something I think it's extremely critical as well. I mean, being a captain or being a coach, it's all about managing people and managing individuals and personalities, and how can you give them the space that is required? How can you allow them to make mistakes? Because at the end of it, you may see a mistake happening or coming, but they may not be, listening to you, but you'll have to let that happen a couple of times and then address it rather than, trying to force your point through. So that's something which I learned through my career, and that, like I mentioned, communication and being honest with every individual certainly helped. And when you make a mistake as a captain or as a player, then you need to put your hand up as well. You can't really look for excuses and start blaming the other guys. So that's something I think really helped in my career.
What a fantastic message for all of us. Traditionally in this game of cricket, the home team wants to win the toss and then wants the pitch made, perfectly for it. But you changed all of that. You said something very interesting. You came and told the team, you ignore all these factors, and you said your game is a reflection of your attitude, right? That is path-breaking, and it's very relevant to this group of people because we are also seeing a lot of disruption in terms of our business models, in terms of all these new technologies and changes. How can we learn as business people from that paradigm?
I'm not really sure whether I can. I can only say what I can do on a cricket field. I mean, toss, pitch, weather, all these are not in your control. So there's no point in worrying too much about what will happen if we lose the toss, or what should we do if we win the toss. And what if the pitch is like this? I mean, you still have to adapt, and you have to put together a strategy to engage and ensure that you come on top. And I think it's all about the squad that you have, the team that you have, and if you have characters in the team, it's not just about talent. It's everyone is talented. You can only have certain talent, which are game changers. But in a squad, you also need characters who stand up when chips are down, and you need players with experience who have seen through all of this and who have the resilience to come out and fight. You need all those characters in a team. And once you have those characters in the team, then you start putting the skills into them and saying, which skill do I put in this particular pitch based on what you see out there and then how you read it. And then go about, rather than saying, this is the pitch I want, or this is the team that I have, so let me prepare the pitch accordingly. I don't think that's something that you need to think of. And the other important point that I learned is when someone's watching a television, and if someone is bowling, you should never be able to tell the score. The body language should be such that it doesn't really matter what the score is. If it was 50 for 5, yes, the body language is different. What if it was 200 for no loss? The body language should be the same. And that's the kind of attitude that you need to take in onto a cricket pitch. And then, yes, there will be losses, there will be victories. Eventually, at the end of the end of a long season, it boils, it evens out, as long as the attitude is right. And that's exactly how I approached my game. And, I think, in whichever team that I've been involved in, and that's the kind of messages that comes across as well.
So there was, one controversy while you were captain, which all of us remember, but it was that whole Budgie and Simmons, kind of matter, which the media brought up as the Monkeygate affair, right? But interestingly, you made one statement that really endeared you even more to everyone. The fact that you said that only one team played in the spirit of the game, right? But recently, you also said something very interesting. You said you just wish that you and Ponting, as the two captains, had just sat down man to man and discussed it, and maybe it could have been resolved differently. And frankly, from a business point of view also sometimes, two senior leaders, instead of talking to each other, are communicating to various other channels, right? Again, what can we learn from that? And tell us, why did you not sit with him and thrash it out?
I did try. You need two people to agree. So I did try. So I don't think it was something that I did not try. But those things happen. You're geared up to take decisions on the field as a captain of the team, to say who should bowl now, what kind of fields that I need to have to get this particular batsman out, what should we do. I mean, those are things that you learn as you play along. But this was something that I don't think learn anywhere. You just have to see and then decide as to what you need to do as a captain. And this was one such instance. And I was really glad. Like I mentioned, those 4 or 5 captains who were a part of my team was extremely crucial, because their influence on the decisions that I take on behalf of the team, and also in terms of the way we handle ourselves after that episode, was instrumental in giving out the right message. And I think the team after that incident was extremely close, and you could see that when we played in Perth, where we beat Australia in Perth, which no other subcontinent team had ever done in Perth, where everybody just gets rolled over. And that's something that we've seen over the years. Other than the mighty West Indies, nobody else has actually beaten Australia in Perth before. Now, of course, South Africa beat them recently. But I think that's where you need the experience and the wisdom of your senior players within the group, which will help you take the right decision. Yes, I agree that a lot of things can be sorted out by sitting across the table, but it also needs two people to agree on sitting across the table.
So before I go to the rapid fire round to finish off, one last question. Now, you've been a player, you've been captain, you've been mentor, you're now the coach. What have been the learnings across, briefly, right? And what are the biggest challenge you're facing as a coach?
No, the biggest challenge is I can't go out there and bowl. That's the biggest challenge. So sometimes you want to tear your head off and say, hey, come on, what's happening? We can't let this drift away. But that's where you hold back and you look at and see, okay, how it can be resolved, or you sit across after everything is over and then sit and have a chat about it. I think that has been the biggest challenge as a coach.
I guess that's where the camera comes out as well, right?
No, I don't think you can make out much when they focus on me. But inside you'll know if things are not going the way you want it to. You'll obviously be pretty frustrated because you can't go out there and do it. And in a test match, you still have time to come back. But in a shorter game, especially in a T20, it's very difficult to come back into the game. So, all the learnings from being mentor of RCB or a Mumbai Indians, in a dugout, it's pretty crazy. Each one is coming up with their own theories, and you have to try and scuttle that or encourage it, try and see how you can bring some sense to all the madness that is happening out there. So in a T20 game, things happen so quickly, you tend to react rather than trying to say, okay, let's calm down and go with whatever we have planned. So you have to be on, planning on your feet as well. You have to think on your feet. And sometimes, those kind of decisions may not go the way you have expected it to go, but then that's when you have to just hold back and say, okay, the players know better and the captain knows better.
Fantastic. So now the googlies, which you wanted right at the beginning. Now, quick questions and some very quick answers, whatever comes first to your mind. Who wins matches Batsmen, bowlers, or fielders? Make one choice.
I think bowlers. Very easy, because no matter how many runs you score, if you don't get the wickets, you don't win the game. Even if you score 100 runs, if you get the opposition out for 99, you still win the game. But bowlers, actually, especially test matches, you need 20 wickets to win a test match.
Fantastic. What makes you smile without fail, any time of the day?
No, I think the way our batsmen are going about and the way the team is responding to all the challenges, I think it's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed my journey over the last 8 months as a coach. It's been fantastic to see, whenever challenges have been thrown in, they've been able to accept it and then come up with their own solutions. At the end of it, you want someone to, not be there, and they themselves start finding solutions. And that's what you want to encourage. You don't want to encourage an atmosphere where you're always needed. You want to encourage an atmosphere where you're redundant. And that's what I want to, encourage in this team. And I'm really glad that, the response has been really brilliant.
Gut feel and playing safe, what would you choose?
Oh, gut feel, anytime.
Name one batsman who never let you scalp him.
No, thankfully, all of them were a part of my team, so it was really good.
Not yet born, is it?
No, all of them were a part of my team, so I was really glad that, I didn't have to bowl at a Sachin Tendulkar, a Rahul Dravid, a Virendra Sehwag, or a VVS Lakshman, or a Saurav Ganguly in an international match. I mean, imagine that. Thinking, I told you about the visualization. Imagine, if I was someone else and thinking about all this list of batsmen and saying, how am I going to get them out? It would have been a serious challenge.
So if someone said, talk to me, Anil, about anything about cricket, what would you talk about?
I think the attitude. I don't think, talent is already there. Your skill, everybody knows. As a coach, the one thing that I don't do is I don't teach them skill. Because that's something, everyone knows. Technique, everyone knows. All I can do is share my experiences and try and see how you can get people out. Execution is extremely important. How can you execute and how can you enable people to think analytically and try and see how best they can come out and execute and come up with different solutions to the same problem.
Wonderful. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 10, that's it. How would you rate your sense of humor?
I'm not sure. I don't think I can. Probably 5.
You just had to pick an answer.
Oh, 5, okay.
Cooking skills.
That's easy, 1.
Acting skills.
Oh, that's minus.
Dancing skills.
Oh, that's even worse. So you're going in the negative now.
What comes to your mind when I say Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni?
Virat Kohli is brilliance. I think just one word is very difficult. He's been. I've seen the development from a 19-year-old who walked into Royal Challengers first time after he won the World Cup as a captain, to the transformation that you see now. I mean, it's been brilliant to see someone that passionate, that that kind of motivation and the dedication that he has. And similarly with MS, coming from Ranchi, nobody expected that, one day someone from Ranchi would be leading the country. And the way he has led the, 10 years as captain, I don't think anybody will have that kind of a shelf life. I mean, it's extremely difficult. Even in the corporate world, I guess it's quite challenging. But to be Indian captain for 10 years is something unheard of. And, hats off to the way he conducted himself as captain of the team. He was the perfect ambassador for the sport. And I don't think anything ruffled him. You couldn't really figure out what he was thinking, even when, 1 ball, 6 runs to go. Or if the opposition needed 2 runs to win and you still have an over to go, you didn't know what he was thinking. So he would always go with his gut. You know, you asked me about gut or, what was the other, I think, safe. So he would always go with his gut, and it was amazing to win World Cups, 2 World Cups and a Champions Trophy, and then you're number 1 in Test. You can't ask for anything more.
What comes to mind when I say Shane Warne and Muralidharan?
Oh, brilliance! In terms of skill, Shane Warne could spin on anything. So was Murali. That's something which I never could. So I always watch them and try to learn. I mean, both of them are great friends, and we are still in touch. It's really nice that I am also spoken in the same breath, and we are the top 1, 2, 3 in the lineup of number of wickets that we've been able to take in Test cricket. All of us playing in the same era, and probably Murali was someone who had to bowl a lot of overs, not just take wickets, but also restrict, because Sri Lanka was a team where it was not easy. And similarly for me, it was a similar case. But Shane Warne, to come from Australia and the kind of talent that he had, I wish I could have that talent with Shane Warne and both Murali.
What would Anil Kumble have feared more? Anil Kumble's googly or his Yorker?
No, I think the Yorker, probably.
Great. They say a true guru is not one who leads you to him or to himself. A true guru is one who leads you into discovering your inner self. I just hope with this interaction today, this guru here, Anil, has helped us, be bowled over by his wonderful comments and helped us really understand, what goes through the mind of a, high performance kind of team and individual. But before we let you off the stage, Anil, this has been really fascinating. But we also have some, I'm sure we have, people sitting here who want to carry something of Anil back, right? And if you recall, I made you sign a few balls there. So I'm going to ask 3 questions to the audience, right? For the people who get the right answer, you are going to get a ball autographed by Anil Kumble. So think very carefully. And if you know the answer, please put your hand up. Don't shout out the answer. Anil will choose one person and that person answers. So we all know that Anil started off as a batsman, really gritty batsman. Do you know in one series, he had the highest average. What was his highest score in Test cricket? Anil, you choose.
Right at the end. Right at the end. Yeah. You can.
Yeah, you in front.
99. Sorry.
Wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And? Can we give it to him?
Yes, absolutely.
No, but not out also. That's important. That's more important than the 110.
118th Test as well, and he was 36 years old and 297 days. Finish that. Well done, well done. Now, Anil has a record of 10 wickets in a Test, in an innings, but he also holds another very rare Test record. What is it?
Yeah. Not really.
Close.
Very close.
Build on that. I think the lady there has a...
Yeah. It was for a while before, yes.
What?
Stuart. No.
What did you say again? He said 35, Anil. We should give it to him.
Okay. No, there's one more. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see.
Answer quickly or I'm giving it away.
No. That's no. I'm sure my runs won't come as a
There's one hand up at the back there.
yeah. Keshav here.
Good
Yeah,
try,
that's-
but you're not
that's-
getting the ball.
So that's close. Yeah, I think
35?
35. Oh, okay, 5 wickets. I think it's the same answer. So I think we should.
You
give
got
to
it.
It's actually 35 cotton balls. Final one. Come on, guys. This, get ready to put your hands up. I'm sure all of you will win this. But I'm not going to choose the right answer. Anil is. Where did he earn this nickname Jumbo? Why? Anil, choose.
I think no, you've already answered. So we'll go with yes, please. Okay, that's okay.
Reasonably okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably close. But he also said where, so. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll give it to him.
You got it.
Anil, that has been a wonderful interaction with you. Thank you so much. We at NASSCOM are delighted to have hosted you. Thank you. Congratulations for what you have just done with England. And no pressure, but we want to make sure that you win against Australia as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so we're not going to let you guys go, Keshav. We need to hold Anil for like a couple of moments. We have a couple of things that we need to do. So Invest in Holland had a stall and they were giving away tickets to Amsterdam as a prize. So we want Anil to pick the person who wins the lucky draw. I'm going to invite on stage Yolanda and Stans from the audience to come up. Anil, if you can do us the honor of picking the winner. Shashidhar Akiraju. Do we have a Shashidhar Akiraju in the audience? Pitney Bowes. So Shashidhar Akiraju in the house? No? Okay, pick another one. Pick another one. A trip to Amsterdam is what is up for grabs. Yeah, he just missed a flight. Melvin Neal? Yeah? Okay, there you go. That's his lucky day. He's winning a trip to Amsterdam, plus he gets to get the award from none other than the man Anil Kumble himself. Woohoo! Okay, so thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. Okay, wasn't that a phenomenal conversation? Was it a conversation about cricket? Must have been a conversation about business strategy because every line that was spoken about can be taken back. So Anil and Keshav, we need to have you guys on stage for another moment because we're going to take a NASSCOM selfie with the entire crowd. So I'm going to invite the NASSCOM team up on stage. We're going to flip around and make sure that the whole crowd gets into the picture. So why don't you all come together? I'm going to request the entire audience to move in closer so we can fit you all into the photo. Ladies and gentlemen who have happily climbed up on stage, I'm going to request all of you to step down. Let's be nice. We are NILF. Let's not hog, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm going to request all of you to move downstairs. Okay, so that's it from us here today. Can we have a huge round of applause for this last session? Thanks to you guys, the mementos are going to be given away at the Speaker's Lounge. Okay, with that, we come to the end of day one. A big thank you to all of you. You've been a great audience. We're going to see you now at the exhibition side.